Pokémon Go is currently the most accessible way to obtain most Pokémon, as it contains the largest roster of Pokémon available in a single game. Therefore, this world-based app is a useful tool for acquiring Pokémon for competitive use in the recently released Nintendo Switch and mobile title, Pokémon Champions. And today, we're going to demonstrate how to transfer your Pokémon that you've obtained from your worldwide travels into this new competitive environment. First and foremost, you'll need to have Pokémon Home installed onto your Nintendo Switch or your mobile device. Make sure that the app is updated to the most recent version, and also ensure that both Pokémon Go and Pokémon Champions are properly up to date as well. Next, it's up to you to decide which Pokémon you wish to transfer from Go to Home. Keep in mind that once a Pokémon is transferred from Go to Home, it is then only compatible with specific Nintendo Switch Pokémon titles and cannot be transferred back to Go. With that in mind, most Pokémon in Pokémon Go can be transferred with a few exceptions. You may not transfer any Shadow Pokémon, outfit-oriented Pokémon, such as Pikachu wearing a hat or floating with balloons, event-focused Pokémon, such as Eternatus, or Spinda. Sorry, Spinda. Otherwise, you may transfer up to 25 Pokémon at a time, and the total amount that can be transferred per day will vary based on your transporter energy. This energy will deplete more quickly if you transfer legendary Pokémon or shiny Pokémon. For the sake of today's tutorial, I shall be transferring over a shiny Tinkatink that I was fortunate enough to encounter in front of Seattle's Mopop Museum during Community Day. Now, while Tinkatink can be transferred to Pokémon Home with no issues whatsoever, Tinkatink herself is not an available Pokémon within Pokémon Champions. However, Tinkatink's final evolutionary form, Tinkaton, is in the game. So, I'll simply evolve this Tinkatink into a Tinkaton within Pokémon Go before I initiate the transfer. Okay, so now that I have this shiny Tinkaton, it's time to get her home ready. To initiate the transfer, I'm going to tap on the Pokeball icon at the bottom of the screen, and when the menu opens, I'll select Settings on the top right corner. Next, I'll choose Connected Services and Devices, and from here, I'll tap Pokémon Home. Then, I'll press the big green button that says Send Pokémon. For today, I shall only be transferring the shiny Tinkaton. Once you've made your selection, go ahead and select Confirm, and then that's it for Pokémon Go. Any transferred Pokémon should now be on their way to Pokémon Home, so let's change gears and move over to that title instead. For this next part, either the mobile version or the console version will suffice. Once you open up Pokémon Home, if you're using the mobile version, the app should immediately inform you that you've transferred a Pokémon from Pokémon Go. You can use this to immediately access the options menu, or you can manually select options and then scroll down to where it says Pokémon Go link. For the console version of Pokémon Home, you'll receive a notification saying that you've transferred a Pokémon, and then you'll just select the Go icon on the main menu. Next, choose Receive, and now any Pokémon you've transferred, in my case Tinkaton, will now be accessible within Pokémon Home. And because it's from Pokémon Go, it will now even have this little insignia to indicate its game of origin. Now it's time to send it to Pokémon Champions. In the mobile version, go back to Options, scroll down to Link with Champions, and then choose Send for a Visit. On the console version, on the main menu, beneath the Pokémon Go button is a Pokémon Champions button. Go ahead and choose that. Pokémon Home will then give you a quick warning about how Pokémon that are in Pokémon Champions must be returned to Home before they can be used in any other compatible Pokémon titles. Agree to this, and then you'll be able to select any Pokémon you desire for Champions. Once you've made your selection, hit Send for a Visit, or press Y in the console version, and then any selected Pokémon will be sent over. Now, for the final step, open up Pokémon Champions and enter the Recruit menu. Choose Collect from Pokémon Home, and then your transferred Pokémon will now be usable in Pokémon Champions. As you can see here, my shiny Tinkaton is ready and raring to go. Go ahead and adjust your Pokemon stats and move pool as you see fit, and then you're all set to take on any upcoming challengers. So, if you're in need of any additional Pokemon for your team and don't have a complete library of Nintendo Switch titles, then consider booting up Pokemon Go to see if you have a spare Pokemon that you're willing to transfer this way. And it can make Pokemon that you've obtained from your real-life travels more rewarding. We hope that you keep catching Pokemon in Pokemon Go, and we hope to see you on the battlefield in Pokemon Champions. And for all other tutorials and tips regarding catching and battling Pokemon, be sure to check out our other guides here at IGN.